Welcome to another episode of Agsolutley Fabulous. It is episode 46. Today we're talking about the Federal Drought Forum, the All Breeds National Heifer Show in Blaney, New South Wales. We have an AgFab question, and we are also going to hear from Kirsten Diprose from the Rural Podcasting Co., who was MC at the Farmers for Climate Change Conference, which happened this week. So let's get into it.
Hi, welcome to Agsolutley Fabulous. My name is Gillian, also known as Station Mum 101. I love everything about agriculture, especially the people and especially communicating about what makes Australian ag so special.
And I'm Katja Williams, a beef, cattle and cropping farmer, and I love all things ag, and I'm also known as the ultimate farm wife. Together, we are Agsolutley Fabulous, and we are talking all things agriculture beyond the headlines.
And we can't wait to give our opinion to you, and we hope you enjoy it.
So let's get into today's episode. Gillian, you look like you're in another motel room.
I am back at my home away from home in Adelaide, in my pajamas, in my bed. Had a big week at the Adelaide show and then another couple of big days at the National Drought Forum, which we will talk about shortly. But I'm already ready to choke down. What about you, Katja? How's your week been going? Pretty hectic?
Very busy week. We are recording on a Tuesday night instead of our usual Monday because we do both have a lot going on and a lot over the weekend, which we will also cover. That will be topic 2 for me. Apart from that, we are still carving down. We've started doing some haymaking because the climate's good for it at the moment. So I'm very excited for all of that, but it's definitely keeping us on our toes. We're still doing the show circuit as well. And so Ned will be down judging Corindo's show by the time this goes live. So we'll be there Friday, Saturday, which will be lots of fun.
So because you're carving your stud cows at the moment, is that right? Or
starting commercials, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have to, because I'm not really familiar with the stud game. You have to grab them and mark them as soon as possible, don't you? And do all their fucking nonsense weights and sizes and stuff for their EBVs.
Yep.
So how often do you check the paddocks? How often, are they just outside your front door? Is it a distance away?
Yeah, they're in a distance away because they're in the paddock that they'll be in until they've finished calving. So yeah, we check them Monday. We check them morning and night, and anything just to keep a good eye on them. That's for the studs, and the commercials we check a handful of times during the week as well.
So have you had to pull any calves yet, or is everyone an easy carver? Or
the season's been a little bit funny. Hearing a lot of neighbours talking about having to pull calves this year, and then it's definitely not with the genetic factors, definitely with the season.
So if you're listening to this and you don't know what pulling a calf means, it means the calf is stuck on its way out the birth canal and you have to manually help it. And there's all different ways and methods you can do it with your hands, although it's really slippery, a rope. There's special, what are they called? Are they carving tongs or chains or something? And you ratchet it out.
We don't do that because there's cases where that can actually hurt the calf. Even if it's alive, you can accidentally hurt something. So we use the carving ropes, which use gravity.
Yeah, and there's different methods for different circumstances, I guess. Mm-hmm. In our production system, the only calves we have pulled are deceased and are stuck in the birth canal, and that is gross. But anyway, if you want the cow to survive, you've got to get it out.
Do have a funny story about so when I was pregnant with my first Eddie, so we're talking about in the drought, and a neighbour had the cows were having trouble giving birth because they were all quite weak from coming out at the end of that drought and not being on green feed, so it can make calving quite difficult. So they got the vet out to do a C-section, and they were like, Kat, you need to come and look at this because, just in case you've got to get one. It's the same process. So I went down and watched them do a C-section, which was like the strangest thing. He was like, here, hold all these organs up so I can pull the calf out. And it was incredible. But I was like, yeah, I'm happy not to do a C-section. Thank you.
I think the doctor would ask you to hold your own organs out of the way when they remove your baby for a C-section.
Because when they do a C-section on cattle, they're still standing. They're not, you don't roll them over or anything like that as they would with a person in the hospital. Like, you're not lying on your back. So, yeah, the gravity you do need to hold the organs while they pull the calf out.
Oh, but now that we've got that out of the way, would you like to hear about my very fun time I've had hanging out with politicians and such?
I would love to hear about the Drought Forum. Have we had any announcements, or has it just been a really frustrating couple of days?
Look, the first day was only a half a day, and by the end of it, I wanted to throw my phone across the room because it's really apparent. If you have any time in the agricultural policy and advocacy space, everyone in that room, so there was people there from different state farming organisations, from research bodies, like a whole sphere of ag was covered. Local councils were there, all these sorts of things. We all know what needs to happen. We were all in broad agreement as to the general things that need to happen. And you'd like to think that the minister being present would just go, this is my area of expertise. This is what I'm in charge of. I hear what you're saying. I agree with you. Let's make it happen. Not so simple, unfortunately. So we've written a lot of stuff on Post-it notes and done all the fucking round table bloody collaboration nonsense for I don't know how many time. And this is the thing about where ag sits in the hierarchy of sort of portfolios. Ag's not cool or sexy. It's not minerals, it's not defense, it doesn't come attached with big expensive dinners from donors and those sorts of things. So even if the minister has the best intentions for her portfolio and wants to help the people that she's there to represent, and I'm saying she because at the moment it is Julie Collins, but it could be a he, could be anybody, then they go back to their cabinet and say, this is what I need from the whole of government to sort of, advance my portfolio. And they go, no, I think so. We'd rather take that money and spend it on rockets or bloody submarines and this is the frustrating part, because we do these things over and over and the answers are clear and simple, and yet we're lacking that greater political will, whatever the intentions of the minister are on the day, whoever you've got as the minister, that overarching political will to enact these what are quite simple things it's not there, because it's not going to win them any votes. It's not going to get any swing seats. It's not going to, give them a board role on a big mining company after they leave politics. And that is to the detriment of the nation, because whilst ever they don't address these things, they will be called on time and time again to help agriculture every time there is a natural disaster or a drought. So it is incredibly frustrating. But yeah, we all participated in good faith. We were all very calm and measured and positive, and we're like, so a couple of things have happened. Minister Collins committed to, in South Australia, we have a thing that's been matched funding to provide upskilling. And this is more than just, every time you go to a drought thing, it's like, they will do some financial literacy training, right? Done to death. This is sort of the next level up. So goal setting, identifying business goals, how do you reach those goals, those sorts of things. And they're commodity specific. So at Livestock SA, ours is called Ag Resilience. And then you get hooked up with experts and those sorts of things. And it's a constantly evolving program. So as we take the feedback from the previous round and we use it to improve and build on the next round to make sure that we're constantly targeting those people. And then we go back and we have master classes for the people who've already completed the program so they can get all the up-to-date stuff. So there's that. Yes, the RIC has been guaranteed for a little bit longer. We're all hoping for low or no interest loans. Every single person in the room was on the same page about that's what we need, that's what we want. They're having the review of the RIC. The results of that will be released at the end of the year. And I got to give it to Minister Collins. I would not like to play poker with her because she did not give a single damn thing away. And that's the frustrating thing. Like, you just want the minister to say, "Oh, I know what you're waiting for," because she knows. We say it to her all the time. Like, you can't give me what I want and I'll be super happy. And what I want is low or no interest rates for Rick. And it's like, she just like said, "Thanks for coming. Really pleased to see everyone participating, and thanks for your feedback. See you later." And we're all just like this going, "Where's my announcement? Where's my money?" And it's just so frustrating. And that's, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. You got to give them time to go back and talk to the powers to be and the lawyers and all that sort of stuff. And you don't want to preempt an announcement and then go back and the Prime Minister or whoever say, "Oh, no, we're not doing that. That's rubbish." So there's that sort of stuff involved as well. But it is very frustrating because it's not like we just asked for it today. We've been calling for it for probably at least 12 months. So
I would
like
say
they didn't know what we wanted. Yeah, it's not like they didn't know what we wanted. And I think it's just that letdown, because we're all hopeful. Would have been a perfect place to make the announcement. It would have been sort of a very fitting end to this day, all that sort of stuff, and we just didn't get it. And because we all had our hopes up, obviously, but yeah, we didn't get what we wanted. So yeah.
Now, I know that we didn't get what we wanted. I know the announcement wasn't made, but was the Drought Forum a success? And was there outcomes taken away from it that will benefit agriculture in the future?
And that's the other thing. It was a very sort of, in my opinion, a very unstructured, loose sort of arrangement. So usually when you go to these sorts of conference/consultation forum things, they say, right, these are the three top things that we're hoping to achieve here. Let's focus on that. And it was just sort of a very loose, a lot of stuff on posters and post-it notes and a lot of conversations and a lot of panel sessions talking about stuff, but no tangible, realistic outcomes. So another announcement that we were hoping for was like that the minister would say, "Thank you very much for this feedback. This is going to start the review of the National Drought Agreement," which is something else that we've all been calling for, to make sure it continues to be fit for purpose in the future. And that would have been a good announcement to make too. But it was just like, "Thank you very much. We'll take this all back to DAF and collaborate it." And we're like, and then what? And do what with it? Like, and what? We just want to feel like we're achieving something. We want to feel like we're making progress. And I think this particular minister is just very cautious. She won't give anyone false hope. Won't commit to anything, won't say a word about anything until it's actually ink is dry, ready to go, which is good in one way. But sort of on the other hand, it's like, come on, just give me something to like believe in.
But also, are we focusing on problem solving in an area and a direction that's going to make an impact? Or if you're thinking, or the government is thinking they're going to head in another direction, let's focus on that direction and problem solving that, rather than letting us all do our own little thing over here and it not being in the right direction or not being impactful. Let's try and focus on a better outcome for everybody.
And that's the thing, like, because if what the issues that we've raised and sort of the key things that were identified from the forum, from the producers and industry bodies that were present, if they are not negotiables for the government, and they say to us, "Look, we're not even going to look at that or touch that," at least let us know, so we know where the boundaries are, so we know what we need to advocate for, so we know what we can and can't change, what we can work towards. That's all we want, is a little bit of certainty. And it's just a very sort of anticlimactic sort of a scenario. But again, so DAF, their secretary, which is like their department head chief bureaucrat, he's been, I don't think, terminated, because they have appointments and his appointment's not being renewed. And so they're in a little bit of a flux state too. So, it's just incredibly poor timing for people who are already like strung out to the maximum of droughtness and everything. We're just like, please just give me some certainty to move forward with, but we couldn't get it. So give everyone the, benefit of the doubt, and we'll see what happens in a couple of weeks, couple of months. Should have a result by the end of the year. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, we will go into the next topic, which is we tried to catch up with Kirsten Diprose, who was at the Farmers for Climate Change conference, and she was emceeing the event. But unfortunately, our time didn't correlate because she's currently in Paris post-event. Over there for another function, which she will let us know. But I'm going to insert the audio that we did get sent through from Kirsten, which I'm very excited to be able to insert that. She's going to give us a rundown of that conference.
They had a banger lineup of speakers. It looked like a good conference. And I think, don't have to believe in climate change, because I do know there are some people out there who don't. You don't have to believe in climate change to attend those things, and at least listen. Because they might have some good points. They might have some ideas that you could sort of bring into your own operations and expand your thinking a bit. But yeah, don't have to believe to participate, I suppose. I don't. Look, we just went to the Drought Forum. We participated.
Hello, Katya and Gillian. So lovely to be here with you. I wish I was able to have a chit chat with you, but yeah, time zones don't work in our favour. I'm having a holiday from the holiday where I was caravanning around Australia. Now I'm in Paris just for a week. I'm presenting at an academic conference. First time I've ever done this, so that's exciting. It's to do with my PhD, which is about local news sustainability in rural and regional areas. Anyway, I was in Canberra just before this, and that was to be the MC of the Farmers for Climate Action's inaugural summit, which is what you want to talk about and what I want to talk about, because it was an amazing event. So yeah, look, Farming Forever, the national summit, had more than 300 people there. And I think what was really important is that so many were farmers. We know we've all been to conferences about ag, and, you're lucky to get 10% of the room to be farmers, whereas I'd say there'd be 80% plus of the room were farmers. So I suppose some of the big things that came out of it, I think firstly just the summit itself. So many people remarked how great it was to get so many like-minded people in the one room, farmers who want to see change, who are already doing things on farm that are climate smart, whether that's increasing biodiversity, incorporating renewables, planting more trees, all of those things. So that was really great. And I really enjoyed at the end, on the third day, where I wasn't the MC, I could be a farmer and participate in the workshop. There was an advocacy workshop, which was really worthwhile. Some of the key points I think that came out really, farmers are not the climate problem. We're part of the solution. So, depending on where you get your stats, agriculture is sort of 14 to 18% of the contributor of greenhouse gas emissions in Australia. So it's definitely an issue, but we've got so many ways in which we can actually be the solution too. And it was really great to hear that message over and over. There was a presenter actually from New Zealand, Mike Casey. He is a cherry grower and he uses renewables really well on his farm. He's pretty much off grid. He was really interesting. I recommend looking him up. But in New Zealand, I can't remember the exact figure, but agriculture is a way higher percentage in terms of contribution to greenhouse gas emissions. So in New Zealand, they really are portrayed as the bad guys. So he was talking about turning that around with having the ability to produce energy, clean energy, not just for his own use, but he's able to support surrounding neighbourhoods with his energy. It was, really great to hear from him. And I think that goes to the other point that farmers want to be part of the energy transition and to be partners in that, not just the hosts. Obviously, we all know stories and cases of where it's gone really badly and a community has been left upset, divided sometimes, and that is not good. We know that renewable energy companies are wanting to work with farmers and communities. I think often now that they'll start paying neighbours as well of, say, like a wind project. So I think there's just that message of making sure we get it right. And look, there were sort of energy companies present and government bodies that, are involved in energy that spoke to us and spoke about getting it right. And I think it's really up to us to make sure, if you are entering into an agreement that you read the contract, but more so get a lawyer to read it for you, get a professional to give you advice. That was something that definitely came out of it. And there was one farmer who told his story, Charlie Prell, and he's been part of Farmers for Climate Action for a while, who basically said that renewables were a lifeline for him. His farm had gone through many droughts and it was the renewables that gave him a reliable income and the ability to retire without having to sell the farm. So, yeah, that was great to hear his story. I suppose, the rural-urban divide, it's interesting that you're asking me about that. I really didn't feel it. We were there in Canberra, very urban. We did have several politicians come and speak, which was great, bipartisan, quite high profile. So we had Chris Bowen, the Minister for Energy and Climate Change. Then we had the Shadow Minister, Dan Tehan. We had the Minister for Agriculture, Julie Collins, come. And look, they basically spoke and couldn't stick around, which is kind of, I guess they're very busy in Canberra. And then we had Helen Haynes as well. She was part of a national breakfast club, the press club talk. So that was really great to have that recognition. I think that it really puts the summit on the stage and FCA as a very, kind of legitimises the group very well. So I was really pleased to see that. But back to rural-urban divide. Yeah, look, it's just, I guess that room, it wasn't felt because everyone there really was kind of united on a mission. But I think it's something that we always have to be aware of, is communicating our message to people beyond people who have a connection to rural, because not everyone does. That was me before I married a farmer. I really didn't know much about farming, but also a reminder that most people aren't against us. Interestingly, in that farmer workshop on the third day, Anna Rose spoke to us, and she was a key player in establishing Farmers for Climate Action, and she's an absolute powerhouse when it comes to leadership. She's established Environmental Leaders Australia, and that's what her main thing is now. But she spoke to us and sort of said how farmers are really in a powerful position in this. And because one of those key reasons is because of how respected and trusted we are as a group. And I agree with that. And I think it's a good reminder, because sometimes we can get down when you see those silly attacks from extreme activists. And Gillian, you are absolutely amazing at tackling them head on. Gives me great joy and laughter when you do. But I think it's just a reminder that that's the minority. The majority are just people going about their day and they have their own lives. And but appreciate farmers because they grow the food. They don't necessarily know how it's done, but they know that they're people working hard, and tackling them head on gives me great joy and laughter when you do. But I think it's just a reminder that that's the minority. The majority are just people going about their day and they have their own lives, and but appreciate farmers because they grow the food. They don't necessarily know how it's done, but they know that they're people working hard and want the best for us. So I think that's kind of heartening to think about, and to look at things from that lens. So looking ahead, the path forward, I think, renewable energy is definitely something that we just need to work out and make sure we're, in those discussions very early on. I think, that's really interesting. Will the conference return next year? I see a question. That's not up to me. I can't give you the answer to that. I think it will return. I sure hope it will. It was very successful, and so I would imagine that it will. Whether it'll be next year, I don't know. These things, sometimes they can be biannual to start off, but I don't have that insight. So I can't tell you if there's a date. We should be looking into the diary, but you can definitely get involved with Farmers for Climate Action. Find them on Google. It's absolutely free to join. And really, you just get this wonderful newsletter that pops into your inbox with stuff that's going on, with seminars that you can do, places to meet up. I think another really great thing about this conference was finding people in your area who are also really passionate. So we all had to stand and make a map of Australia with where we lived. No surprise, we're very east heavy, but we had people from all over the country, so we did make a map of Australia. But it was great to see the people that aren't too far from you. So that's another reminder is meet up with people who are local to you and share similar climates and environments and concerns. So look, thank you for having me on to chat about this. I hope I've answered some of your questions. It was a wonderful event. So I look forward to the next one, and hope you're both well. Thanks for doing what you're doing. Love your podcast. Okay, bye.
I saw a very cute photo of you and your family, Katja, at the All Breeds Heifer Show. How many Shorthorns were there? How many Angus were there? The Herefords.
There was so many Angus there.
How many Wagyus were there?
Did not see any Wagyus. I was very excited to take my oldest son down to his first National All Breeds Heifer Show, which was in Blaney, New South Wales this year. It is a 3-day event where they are teaching our youth in the cattle industry all the skills for clipping, caring for your animals, as well as junior judging. So when you go to a show and you see people judging the animals, and then they give their spiel on why they chose this animal over that animal, so teaching the kids that spiel, how to do those skills, which is also great for public speaking in the future, and being able to really use the skill of seeing what's in front of you and being able to verbalize it, because sometimes that skill isn't always taught in other areas at school or in life. So really great that they can start that from so young. So with the All Breeds Heifer Show, you can start with that from 5. With most society shows for breeds, so say we're in the shorthorn industry, so the shorthorn youth starts at 6, unless you have special written dispensation from the committee. So the committee's got a vote on that.
That is so awesome. Like, that is so cool. My son, middle boy, showed a goat.
Yes.
Kevin goat. We had a bit of a controversy over Kevin. So Stephen, my boy, was supposed to lead Kevin in the grand parade, but then another girl, because there's more kids than goats, right? Then another girl cracked a turn because she was with Kevin last show, and her and Kevin have a special bond, and she wanted to lead Kevin. And Steve-O wasn't particularly invested in which goat he had. He just really sort of wanted to be there and experience going to the show, which is fine. So he led another goat called Booney, I think. So yeah, there's a bit of tension in amongst the show team over who gets what goat. But the St. Mark's team where Steve-O goes to school, they did really well. You know, they had, I think it was 8 goats and won 5 ribbons. So that's nice for their first outing. So yeah. And we even found a shorthorn at the show and took a picture of it for you, Karchen.
Oh, I look forward to seeing that picture.
So how did Eddie go? Did he have a heap of fun?
Yeah, he had so much fun. It really boosted his confidence, and I really enjoyed the format of the show. So the first day, the first afternoon is registration, and you meet your buddy. So Eddie was competing in the Pee-wee section, so the age bracket for Pee-wees, so they get a buddy. So the first afternoon is that. Then the first day of the show, they go through all their classes, which really flowed really nicely. And then the second day, they do the junior judging, and the third day, they do the parading, where they actually take the animal out into the ring.
Do you know what would be so awesome? If each breed society that's involved in that All Breeds Heifer Show, right, sponsored a kid from an urban school to participate and gave them like an ag buddy. And they went through the whole thing together. And that, because obviously they're children, you can't just, they and their families attend and participate. Like, how's that for building a bridge? Like, that would be a great opportunity, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely is. And it does happen on some occasions. So with the heifer shows, they really need to be invested in wanting to do it and for them to be able to do it, because it's such limited spaces. So for the All Breeds Heifer Show, just to give an indication, between when entries opened and were completely full, it was less than an hour. It was like 42 minutes or something. So very, very competitive. You need your animals pre-assigned. And then say for some of the other individual breed shows, sometimes it'll be a couple of days, but you do need to organise before the applications open. You need to organise whose cattle you're gonna take, and who you're gonna buddy up with, so you can put that on your application for when they open up. But great opportunity. There were people there from Sydney, particularly like the Hawkesbury area and places like that. So think Western Sydney, who had been paired with livestock, or if they've got friends who are in the country or who have farms where they've organised, yep, we'll meet you there and we'll help you with your cattle. So that was great. We had a couple of kids who go to Macquarie Anglican Grammar School here in Dubbo, because Macquarie Anglican Grammar School takes our show team around to all the shows as part of their livestock team, as part of their extracurricular for school. So a couple of their students took our shorthorns there as well. And Eddie was paired with one of their students, which was great. But yeah, it's just great that when you go to a school that has a livestock affiliation, whether it's an agricultural school or not, and you get those opportunities to be part of the ag industry, even if it's not part of your background.
That is awesome, I think, and we need to do more of that. And I know everyone goes, it always falls to us because it's in our industries, it's in ag's best interest to make ourselves as open and welcoming as possible. And I know it's a lot of extra work and we're already so busy, but what can you gain from it? So much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did
very
he win
inclusive.
Did he get any ribbons?
Yeah, so he got so there was 25 Pee-wees in his class, and they gave out 5 awards for junior judging. So he did get one of those 5 awards, which was an encouragement award. He did speak beautifully, considering it was his first year doing it, although he did choose not to use the microphone, which is okay too. But I think that's why he got the encouragement award.
But isn't that and I know it's not about getting a ribbon, but what a core memory now. Like, I went to this first thing and I got an award, and then it gives them the sort of encouragement and passion to go on and keep trying and, keep improving themselves. And that's beautiful. I did junior judging when I was at secondary school. I was the only girl.
Yeah.
And our team always won because obviously I had big opinions.
I love that. And you could back them.
Yeah, well, we were in Brahmin country then up in North Queensland, so yeah, everything looked very similar because Brahmins are of a type. But yeah. Oh,
Now, Gillian, we had an AgFab question come through this week. I'm going to do my best to read it out and not have a dyslexic moment. But what I love so much about this question is that it is in relation to the Ag Exchange Conference, which is the National Farmers Federation Conference, which is coming up on the Gold Coast. Now, Gillian, you're not only speaking at that conference, but you are also were on the organising committee. So I'm going to read the question that has come through with the opinion, which I love that it has an opinion attached to it. And then I'm going to let you answer it.
let's go.
So it says, ladies, why are we getting people outside ag to speak at an industry event? Now, this is in relation to Billy Slater. Okay, he's well known and is getting into farming. Yes, he's got football field leadership, but if I'm going to go to an ag forum or an event and spend lots of money to do so, I want to hear from farmers on the ground with industry experience. Wonderful. So tell us about that, Gillian.
Right. So this is a pretty common thing actually, because farmers want to see sports people.
Interesting.
They will pay good money to see them, and that's been proven time and time again. And the Ag Exchange Conference, it goes over a couple of days, and there are plenty of farmers on panels and all these sorts of things. So there are actual genuine farmers there with, boots on the ground, skin in the game experience. And you think of because Billy Slater, because last time we had Glenn McGrath, Billy Slater is he's like the reward for sitting through probably some very challenging and often tedious things that you might not have a particular interest in. It's like, okay, I'll go there and I'll participate in this and learn. And then for a bit of relief, lighthearted fun, I'll listen to Billy Slater. And Billy Slater's not only getting into farming now, he is from a semi-agricultural background. He was a track work jockey, and he had to decide whether he was going to be a jockey or play rugby league. And he took, thankfully for the Cowboys and all those, and Queensland, he took up rugby league. But grew up in North Queensland, very close to a farming community, all that sort of stuff. And he is a really nice guy. My cousin used to play professional rugby league, knows Billy really well. And the good thing about it is when you get these sort of speakers, they don't just speak and run, right? So politicians, they generally just speak and leave because they're so busy and important and have other things to do, and they don't want to be cornered by some person and then harangued for the rest of the day about what they're doing their job, how badly they're doing their job. And it adds a little bit of sort of extra special to the event. And we're super cool. We've spoken at events before, Katja, but we don't have the same, people wouldn't turn up just because we were there. They'd listen to us and everything, but they wouldn't say, oh, Katja and Gillian are going to be, the keynote speakers, will definitely go and listen to that. But if they go, oh, the Ag Exchange Conference is on and Billy Slater's going to be there, I'll definitely go to that. And I know it's very specific to Queensland and New South Wales. But the thing about these professional sportsmen, for a lot of them, is they're pretty switched on guys, and they tell a good yarn and they hang around and they get their photo taken and all that sort of stuff. But because a lot of people, you see it a lot in the southern states, especially in Adelaide, because they're all AFL mad. They go mad when they see if AFL players down the shops. They're just trying to live their life, and they've got people taking pictures of them and stuff. And I don't understand it, but people do love sports stars. And they often tell really good stories about resilience and perseverance and hard work, and we can relate to that as farmers. So until we get a farmer who's like Jeremy Clarkson famous, other farmers probably won't pay good money to go and see them. And that's unfortunate, but that's just a fact. But if you are going to come to Ag Exchange, there's discount rate for producers. Jump on, grab a ticket, book your flights and accommodation, because there's going to be plenty going on. And I will be there. I will quite happily talk to you if you want to. Not that I'm the biggest draw card in the room or anything, but
of course you are.
It's really, these sorts of conferences, and I know I go to a lot of them. This one is a very interesting snapshot of our industry on a global scale. And then it comes down nationally. You get to hear from all these different experts, and everyone's got their 5 cents worth to give. But it just sort of shows you the other side of agriculture, in the sense that that's the side of agriculture that interacts with government, that helps set policy, that is like advocating for you as farmers, so you can just do your job.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to worry about anything. We're meant to be there to help you do your job. And sometimes we get it right and sometimes we don't. But if you don't come along to a conference and tell us what we're doing wrong, we won't know. So yeah, that's how that happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really excited to hear about how Olly Harrison from the UK goes with his speech. And I'd really love to get some feedback on him. I think if I was able to go, I'm not able to pass on my parental care of my kids over that weekend, which I'm devastated about. I will again have some serious FOMO, like I did with Australian Women in Agriculture this year. But yeah, would love a review on that. Who are you looking forward to most? Whose session are you looking forward to most?
And this is the thing. I don't look forward to the sessions per se, because you watch the sessions, because it's very hard to run like good interactive Q&As, because you've got these big auditoriums and everyone's got Slido, which is the little texting app and that sort of thing. And you're sitting on the stage and these questions are popping up on a TV screen, and then someone comes along and goes, time's up, get off. And then the next speaker comes in. It's the conversations that those presentations spark in the breaks. And that's where I think the real value of these things lies. It's not watching or listening, because you can do that on YouTube. You can read an article. It's then getting together with a diverse group of your peers, farmers, agribusiness professionals, agripolitics, and having the discussions around, okay, so if what I took from that presentation was this, and this is important. What I took from that presentation was this, and this is a risk to us, and having those conversations. That's probably what I enjoy the most.
Yeah.
And checking if there's any jam in the cakes. Can't have surprise jam. And eating fruit that's been cut up for me by somebody else. I never eat as much fruit as when I'm at a conference.
Because you didn't have to cut it up.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I'm a small child trapped in a 46-year-old woman's body.
I love that so much. Now, we only have these couple of topics to discuss today because it's been a really quiet week on socials. So, AgFabs, please keep sending us your news articles, your reels, your research, whatever it is that you want us to cover here on the podcast. Keep asking your questions so that we can keep representing on this podcast what you want to know about closing the urban and rural divide and news beyond the headlines. I had a quick look over on our podcasting platforms. So we have 14 reviews on iTunes and 8 on Spotify. With over 4,000 downloads, guys, we would really appreciate if you could log on where you're listening to this podcast and give us a 5-star review. It really does help other people find the podcast. And if you are enjoying one of the episodes and topics that we are covering, every time you listen, do send it to a friend.
And we do still have some really cool merchandise packs that I have to make the younger child make up when I get home. So I'm going to go through the reviews and pick 4 of the best reviews and send them out to those lucky listeners. So we've got about 10 reviews, give or take. So where are our other 70 regular listeners, Katja? Why aren't they leaving us a review? They've hurt my feelings now. Devastated.
Well, I think it's even more now because we are increasing per download.
Beautiful. Love to see it. It's not that I think we're so cool and popular and all, but I love that people enjoy it. That's what I love. It's like, yeah, I'm making people laugh and starting conversations. That's great. And when you do want to send us stuff, it doesn't have to be serious stuff. If you want to find out, like we've talked before, Katja, about, what we do with our rubbish and our shopping and all this sort of stuff and where we get our food from and stuff. If you want to know about where my septic goes, like what happens if my toilet breaks down, like all this sort of stuff, I'm quite happy to answer those questions. And Katja, you're quite happy to answer any questions about, how do you manage with 4 very small children?
Yeah.
And doing everything else that you do. and again, the ultimate farm wife, planning the conference for next year. How do you do it all? Tell us your ways.
I'm very tired. But it's okay.
That's why
I
we're
don't
both
sleep
in our
much.
jammies, and Katja's about to get into bed.
But absolutely, I 100% agree with what Gillian is saying. Please send us any questions that you have. We're more than happy to discuss it. And if you have been with us right from the start, Gillian has finally put up the videos of her kitchen and her stall. So jump on over the socials and have a look at those.
Yep. And send us your pictures of your station, or like, it doesn't have to be a station, obviously, but like that's just what we call it at home. So send us your store cupboard. Send us how, where do you keep your bulk food? And this is becoming a real trend. Like, not everyone is a mad prepper buying 55,000 kilos of baked beans, but it is, as the cost of living pressures bite, people are buying in bulk and buying simpler things and storing stuff at home. So how are you managing that? If you live in town, if you live in a city, in a small apartment, how do you, or do you even, have a space to do that? Is that holding you back? Let us know what your life is like as well.
Absolutely. We'd love to cover that. But until next time, guys, have a lovely night and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.